Our next story might sound like something out of a science fiction novel, but in a year where stranger things have happened, it's very much science fact. You'll soon be able to buy meat in Singapore that was grown in a lab. It's not to be confused with plant-based meat substitute. This is meat from the cells of an animal, a chicken in this case, turned into an actual piece of chicken. The US-based startup Eat Just has pioneered this, and co-founder and CEO Josh Tetrick joins us now. Wow, Josh, when I read about this, I actually didn't believe it was true, but just looking at what you do now, I realize it is. Just explain the process and how you came up with this idea.
Well, it's very much true. We're taking the best of meat, which is nutrition, the taste, and we're getting rid of the worst of meat, which is the environmental issues, the food safety issues, the treatment of the animals. And Julia, we think this is going to be the future of meat.
So are you targeting poultry or meat eaters in this case? Or are you also perhaps targeting vegetarians as well that don't eat meat for ethical reasons? Like you said, it can also be seen as pretty disgusting the way that these animals are treated.
Well, I think if you're a vegan or vegetarian, philosophically, you're not eating meat because of what you said, the way the animals are treated, or the fact that about a third of the world's ice-free land, if you can believe it, is dedicated to growing soy and corn to feed the animals we eat. So instead of biodiverse rainforests, we have fields and fields and fields of chicken feed. So if vegans and vegetarians are not eating meat because of that, this is definitely the meat for them. But maybe even more importantly, this is the meat for people that really enjoy meat. You know, we're an imperfect species. We do it even with all the issues. So if you love chicken, if you love beef, this is for you.
Does it taste any different from ordinary chicken? And texture, everything's the same?
So usually when people try it, they're surprised because it doesn't taste like a better version of chicken or a worse version of chicken. It just tastes like chicken.
Tastes like chicken.
Because
Funny that.
Because it is. It has a nutritional composition of chicken because it is. It tastes like chicken because it is. What it doesn't have is all the greenhouse gas emissions. What it doesn't have is the elements that lead to increased probabilities of zoonotic disease. What it doesn't have is the real morality issues that we have with killing 67 billion chickens every single year. We need to build a food system that's a lot closer to aligning with the best of us, and we think this is a part of it.
I'm just trying to look at the pictures while you're talking as well to get a sense of what it looks like. It just looks, I guess, you can shape it any way you choose to.
So yeah, the process is we get a cell from a chicken or a cow, and then we identify nutrients to feed that cell. So think about a chicken's eating soy and corn or nuts and berries, and those amino acids and the nutrients in the berries of the soy and corn allow the chicken to grow, and they're slaughtered after about 47 days. Well, we take the cell, we identify nutrients, same kind of nutrients, and then we manufacture the meat in a very clean, safe way in a bioreactor. It's a culturing process. It's not that dissimilar from how you would culture food or how you would brew beer. The end result is meat without all the issues facing it. People call it cultivated meat or no-kill meat or cultured meat, but what people shouldn't call it anymore is lab-grown meat, because with this historic approval that Singapore has provided, the historic first sale that we had, this is no longer about the lab, right? This is about serving consumers in restaurants. It's about manufacturing on a large scale, and we think this is how the vast majority of meat will be made and eaten in the coming decades.
Okay, so Singapore's clearly on the front foot here, saying we approve, let's get it into restaurants and see what people think. Talk to me about scaling up. How quickly do you think we can see this on the shelves in the United States or across Europe? Talk about your plans for Eat Just as a business.
So what's exciting about this approval, we can actually scale up now. Absent approval, you said to make things for me and my team members and my friends. So now for the first time, we can actually scale up. So the plan is to really invest in Singapore because this is the only place in the world that's presented a regulatory approval. But next is to work with regulators in the US, FDA and the USDA, to work with regulators in Western Europe. And we've already seen, Julia, that regulators are influenced by other regulators. Policymakers are influenced by other policymakers. The world might not necessarily want Singapore to own the future of food. Singapore has really taken a big step in doing that. But we want to scale up first in Singapore in 2021. We're going to be investing quite a bit of capital in that manufacturing process. We eventually want to launch beef. And then eventually we want to bring this to to Western Europe and US. But more long term, I want us to live in a world where my niece, who's a year and a half old now, when she enters high school, I want the majority of beef, chicken, lamb, eggs, milk, you name it, to not require killing a single animal, to not require tearing down a single tree, to not require a single drop of antibiotics. That's going to be a better world.
Yeah, I'm with you, Josh. Amazing. Fascinating concept. Stay in touch. I know you've got some whopping great investors as well. Li Ka-shing, the Singapore state investor, of course, Temasek as well. So I'm sure a lot of people will watch this and already be talking to you. Stay in touch. We'll watch your progress. Josh Tetrick there from Eat Just. Thank you for joining us on the show.